fast forward another 22 years when I was 40 years old. And I was in a trauma class. And I actually went to the trauma class because I took my daughter to the trauma class because her dad and I had gotten divorced when she was very young, and she just had a hard time processing it. And I went there because I needed her to learn about trauma. But here's what happened that day. I began to realize that everything that I believed in my life was a lie. And everything that I did was a response to that 5-year-old little girl inside of me. That essentially all of the decisions that I made about myself and others and God when I was 5, I filtered every single life decision through the eyes of a 5-year-old. When I was 5, I began to experience conditional love from my brother. And so I decided that love was something I always had to earn. And I also decided that I never wanted to feel that way again. My 5-year-old self believed it was best to be rich, to be prepared, and to be responsible, and that you could not do that and have fun at the same time. Because while my brother was out being rich and prepared and responsible, I was having fun with my friends on the playground. And I just couldn't believe that you could have two things. I believed it was up to me to control things so that I didn't have to experience any negative surprises again. I even decided to hate surprises, even the good ones. I decided that I would never treat people the same way that I was treated by my parents, my brother, the people at school. You know, it's funny because even the smell of the restaurant that was in the background made me nauseous. And I learned at the age of 40 that this is actually a trauma response. It was after even that I began to write this curriculum that I could trace back my anorexia to the root of not being in control of the food that I had that day. And I decided that I could be in control of what went in my mouth. I decided that I would leave no man behind. And I began noticing patterns in my life of rejection, abandonment, unworthiness, feelings of being unprotected, feeling of being forgettable, taking life too seriously, people-pleasing, and performance orientation. That's when I became emotionally closed off and distant. That's when I picked up shame and also fierce independence. I didn't want to have to ask people for help. I didn't want to be a burden. I had an enormous distrust in authority, and I made a lot of really good decisions for the wrong reason. Everything changed that day. I also began to understand how I judged my parents and God, my brother, the authorities at school, and even myself for the things that I did or didn't do. And I made inner vows. These inner vows are decisions that sound good on the outside, but they lead to death. And I decided to leave no man behind, to never need people or love, to always strive for approval, to never show emotions, and to always be good enough. And these things served me well as a child to protect my heart and allow me to cope. However, as an adult, they were working against me. And some of these things sounded very noble, but they were producing bad fruit in my life. And over time, things got very twisted in my mind, and I began to believe that they wanted to get rid of my brother and I